And Mahayoga talks about the visualization of deities and so forth, the generation stage, and Anuyoga teaches that of the completion stage. So when the activity of those of the adventitious states of mind and wind energies kind of subsides, becomes weaker, then the subtle clear light, innate clear light mind becomes active to meditate on emptiness and so forth. And so Ati Yoga has to do with that. It is said that it is not using the mind into the path or turning the mind into the path, but the yeshe. Not sem lamje, but yeshe lamje, which means turning that of the primordial wisdom into the path. And so, after the dissolution of the 80 conceptions and those of the 3 visions of whitish appearance in reddish increase and the near attainment, blackish near attainment. And then you go into the Ati Yoga practice where you have the practice of breaking through solidity, texture, and sangtel. So Tantra uses something that's a factor which is already innately within ourselves, and through the use of the skillful means, turning that into the path. And so, whether it's Guhyasamaja Tantra, there is one text called Sungjuk Selwa, which is illuminating that of the union, where it says enlightenment is not possessed, not granted by anybody. So what this shows is that enlightenment is not something that is granted from somewhere outside to ourselves. Why? Because it is not possessed by anybody. Why? Because the most fundamental potential for the attainment of the 3 bodies is within ourselves, innately or inherently. And so, the enlightenment is not granted by anybody, nor is it possessed by anybody. So, what you need to become aware is that you have the basic potential for the Buddha's 3 bodies and therefore you making that active through the skillful means of Tantra. Then you actually become aware and of this basic quality that is within yourself. So the innate clear light mind, together with its the vehicle of the subtle wind energy, in other words, the subtlest mind and wind energy, that these 2 are transformed into the path. When you are able to do that, then you are able to attain the 3 bodies. And so that innately residing wind mind energy that is within yourself, the clear light, then when you are able to make that actively, then you will be able to turn that into the path to attain that of the Buddha bodies. So in order to be able to do that, so as long as their gross state of mind are active, then the subtle mind cannot be used to turn into the path. So that there's this pit instruction of Dzogchen where it says an experienced master, when you have an experienced master with a devoted disciple, so with these 2 together, then while the gross states of mind are still active, the Lama is able to introduce the disciple to differentiate or distinguish between the ordinary deluded mind and the primordial awareness. So there is a reason to say that as long as it is something is mind or consciousness, it has that quality of cognitive nature. And so even the gross states of mind have that cognitive quality in it. And therefore, when you are able to become aware of that cognitive quality and sustain it, then the gross states of mind are shed. And that is also like that of overcoming the yama. And so all states of consciousness, gross states of consciousness, arise from this primordial wisdom, the innate mind, and all dissolve back into it. And so the Tantra, what it teaches is how to use this innate clear light mind by making inactive those of the gross states of mind or coarser states of mind. And when they subside, the gross states of mind subside, then the subtle mind becomes active and manifest. So when you go through the dissolution process, you have the three visions of whitish appearance, and then a reddish increase, and then the blackish near attainment, within which in the earlier part you have memory, and then you lose memory during the later part. And so if you have been able to meditate on emptiness, finding conviction in it, so as the seventh Dalai Lama says, so when your mind is able to ascertain that of emptiness, then all the diverse appearances or experiences kind of dissolve. And so your mind is absorbed in emptiness. So that absorption on emptiness, the emptiness which is taught in the Perfection of Wisdom, the teachings, the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, that is so all samsara and nirvana arise from this innate clear light mind. And so that mind is used in the highest Yoga Tantra to meditate on emptiness. And so, in order to stop the gross, coarser states of mind and wind energies, then you have all kinds of yoga practices. So that these gross states of mind kind of subside and become dormant, and using this subjective clear light mind, as it is taught through the 9 analogies and 9 meanings in Maha-Anuttara Tantra, the Uttara Tantra, and so that the 25 gross states dissolve, and also the 80 different conceptions dissolve, and then you go through the process of the 4 empty states. So here, the 4 states could be referred to as Shentong, extrinsic emptiness. So we go through the 4 visions, the vision, whitish appearance, and so forth. So the whitish appearance, when you have that experience, then the earlier gross states have subsided and so forth. So in this way, we can understand this in terms of the Shentong, the other emptiness, being empty of the earlier states of whitish appearance, and then during the reddish appearance, the whitish appearance have dissolved and so forth. And so, even while your mind is in a gross state, when you are able to have the apprehension of the emptiness, then at the time of reaching that of the state of death, dying state, the clear light of dying state, and Kyodro Nosan Gyatso has mentioned that there is an experience which is almost like that of meditation, direct meditation on emptiness or direct realization of emptiness. And so this clear light mind, the innate clear light mind, when you are able to use that into the path, then there is a possibility to become enlightened in one lifetime. And therefore, this verse, which I quoted earlier, which says enlightenment is not granted by anybody, nor it is not possessed by anybody, but by understanding or becoming aware of your own potential quality, being able to do that, the Buddhas call you a Buddha. So within the highest Yoga Tantra, there is the usage of the clear light mind. When it talks about the two truths, so the two truths here refer to the conventional truth referring to the illusory body, and then the ultimate truth referring to that of the clear light. And so in the Sakya tradition, this is referred to, the clear light mind is referred to as the ultimate truth. But many other scholars say that it is not ultimate truth, but it is a conventional truth, and because it is a consciousness, which is a conventional truth within the category of forms and consciousness, and those are the abstract and phenomena. It is consciousness. And consciousness is a positive phenomena between the negative and positive. But this clear light mind, which is also called the all excellent mind or awareness in the Nyingma tradition, is not the product of adventitious causes. So, with regard to all excellent one, there is the expression beginningless samandabhadra, and so the subtlest clear light mind is not made brighter or and so forth, nor does it become duller and so forth through some adventitious causes, but it has that quality right from time beginningless. And so when you die, of course, you already have this clear light, innate clear light mind. So this innate luminous mind has no beginning, no end. And so it is a positive phenomena. And then, because it continues on, it is also termed as permanent in terms of being continuous. And then it is also called ultimate truth. So Tantra in general, and particularly the highest Yoga Tantra, if you actually closely think along these lines, with the basis of understanding of meditation on emptiness as the basis, then by understanding your own nature, so since there are the gross, the subtle and the subtlest mind and wind energies, during the dissolution process, all the gross ones dissolve into the subtlest one. And so the subtlest mind and wind energies still reside within the body even after clinical death. So as soon as this mind and wind energy, the subtlest mind and wind energy, depart from the point of your heart chakra, then one is said to be dead. But clinical death is not necessarily death according to this. And therefore, without their being able to posit this kind of a subtlest mind, then it's very difficult to explain past and future lives. And so the Tantra has its own profundity. And so Saraha, who was a great yogi, adept, was a master of Master Nagarjuna. And then there were other tantric adepts, the 84 tantric adepts and so forth, who were all practitioners of Tantra and became realized beings. And then in Tibet also there had been many great, incredible masters of the Nyingma, Sakya, Gergyu, and Kadam, and within which there is the new tradition of Kadam, and then the old ones, the new Kadam tradition referring to the Geden or Geluk tradition, and Chonang, and so forth. So the tantric initiation that we are doing here is Yamantaka or Vajrabhairava. In Mysore, there is Mahishasur or something. So there was a statue or image of Yamantaka with a buffalo face. And so Yamantaka is the slayer of Yama, that of the death or Lord of Death. So the all the highest yoga tantras equally teach how the potential or the quality that is within oneself innately is transformed into the path. But there are different purposes for the development stage of practice within these tantras. In the Nyingma, the 8 Herukas, there is Yangtak. There is something called Tumo Mewang, initiation of the fire of Tumo, or this fierce lady, or inner fire. And then there is the Yamantaka, there is the red Yamari, and so forth. In the Yamantaka Vajrabhairava tradition, so in the extremely fierce or Vajrabhairava, we have the Vajrabhairava, the solitary hero, and within this same deity, you also have that of the Manjushri, the peaceful wisdom deity, Manjushri on top of his head. And so Within the Vajrabhairava's body, the Ekavira Vajrabhairava's body, there is both the peaceful and wrathful. Therefore, one is said to accomplish the wrathful practices or accomplishments called indirectly by doing the peaceful ones directly or explicitly, and vice versa. So, therefore, the tradition, Kyo, and Sha traditions were there, which came from Tibet. India, sorry. And so all of them so Master Tsongkhapa, for him, Vajrabhairava, the solitary hero, he had a direct vision of Vajrabhairava, the solitary hero. So in the Gelug tradition, the practitioners do the Goesamacha, Yamantaka, and Heruka in their daily practice, as their daily practice. And so when you do the peaceful practices directly or explicitly and are able to accomplish the wrathful feats, it is there in the Vajrabhairava. So at your heart, at the heart of the solitary hero, you even could visualize as the Jnana Sattva, the different forms of Manjushri as well for accomplishing different types of wisdom. So, with regard to myself, my first highest Yoga Tantra initiation was that of the Vajrabhairava initiation from Tata Dojishang. And then I also received the same same Vajrabhairava initiation here in the main stupa of Bodh Gaya. So this was the last one that I received also of the highest Yoga Tantra initiation from Ling Rinpoche. So the 13th Dalai Lama was also a practitioner of Vajrabhairava. The Vajrabhairava solitary hero was his special practice. But although I cannot claim to be doing the same, but I have done the practice of developing wisdom on the basis of Vajrabhairava or Manjushri, and since my childhood. And it is usually said that the Amdo people are very intelligent. And one of the former abbots of Gomang Monastery of Drepung, Jamyang Yeshe, had said that, any scholar of Tibet must necessarily be Amdoa. Whereas if I had told this to my late senior tutor, Yongten Ling Rinpoche, he would have immediately responded by saying that that's not true, because we have the Benchen Sonam Dragwa from Tsetang, which is part of the central Tibet. So in other words, what the late abbot Jamyang Yeshe had said is not true, but there have been many scholars from Amdo, and so Manjushri practice, I have been doing it since my childhood, and also I have been doing this combination of the wrathful and peaceful mantras, and so it really helps to, develop that of the wisdom of clarity, and vastness, and also particularly that of the profound wisdom. Because when you have profound wisdom, you are able to actually think critically, saying, "Oh, if this is so, that must be so," and so forth. Reasoning is quite quick, and so when you are able to accomplish the wrathful one indirectly by doing the peaceful practice directly, it is done through the recitation of the Om Arapasana mantra. So by combining the peaceful and wrathful here, so at the hum syllable, so the hum is the hum syllable is at the inside that of the double-bladed sword at your heart. And then when you do the combined practice of peaceful and wrathful accomplishments, then you actually imagine that of the D syllable instead of hum. The hum transforms into D, and then you do the mantra of Manjushri and for the accomplishment of peaceful feats directly and indirectly those of the wrathful or wrathful feats. So in Tantra, you are spiritually matured through the initiation, and then you go through the process of developing the path for liberation. So with regard to this Vajrabhairava initiation, the first time I received it was from Tata Rinpoche, and then from Ling Rinpoche also I have received it many times, and I do the necessary approximation retreat of Vajrabhairava every year. Then I do the practice of Vajrabhairava and Gwe Samaja, and also Heruka. So within the practice of visualizing oneself as a deity, and I should give the initiation. So imagine me not as, see me not as an ordinary person like you see me now, but imagine me and visualize me as a deity, Vajrabhairava in its full form, inside the mandala of Vajrabhairava, standing on the cushion or seat of a lotus and they call moon seat and so forth. And at my heart also you imagine Jnana Sattva at his heart, that of the Samadhi Sattva, or the hum syllable. So with regard to, as I already mentioned yesterday, I do not do the dharma offering, which is meant for driving away any obstacle beings who might otherwise hinder this the initiation process. So I do not do that, but then other lamas might do their own, might do this ritual as they, according to their traditions. And so, because I see all sentient beings as being one's near and dear ones, I don't feel comfortable to do this driving away of, dharma offering to drive away so-called evil beings. So with regard to the initiation ritual, rite of this solitary hero, Yamantaka, Vajrabhairava, I used the 7th Dalai Lama's rite. So visualizing and meditating the Lama, the Guru, and the main deity of the mandala inseparable. First, let's have tea. So the Lama enjoys the tea. While the Lama enjoys tea, the disciples also should enjoy their tea. So doesn't that sound nice? Did it? Sounded Ale. So with regard to Vajrabhairava, accomplishing this, practicing the peaceful, doing the peaceful practice directly and indirectly accomplishing the wrathful feats. In the past lamas have said that merely doing that of the visualization of Vajrabhairava, one would be able to accomplish the wisdom. So, of course, in the Kriya Yoga Tantra also there is Manjushri practice. But if you do that Manjushri practice in combination with the Vajrabhairava, it has its own profundity and specialty to overcome obstacles and so forth. And then the Samaya Sattva, being Yamantaka, also has the it actually is the best practice to overcome for longevity. For longevity. So, discarding the appearance as in order to for this ordinary appearance not to happen, just as I have meditated in your visualization and imagination, imagine Vajrabhairava inside the mandala, and the Lama and the Guru and the main deity in the mandala are inseparable, and so in the center is the Ekavira Vajrabhairava with 9 heads and 34 hands. And so the central phase are the wrathful and then the middle phase is slightly wrathful, and then the Manjushri is peaceful, and so on top is Manjushri, and then next beneath that is the face of, or the Yaksha, or in other words that of the Hayagriva. So it has the mixed expression of peaceful and wrathfulness. And then underneath it is the buffalo face. And then on the left and right of the buffalo face, you have the three other buffalo faces each. Please repeat this. Oh, blissful one, my teacher, kindly give me your attention, my instructor. Oh, great protector, I seek the way to great enlightenment you have shown. I request you to grant me those very commitments. Grant me the mind of my enlightenment, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, the three features as well. I request my protector to usher me into the supreme city of liberation. Please let me into the great city of liberation, my protector. So you say this 3 times. Oh, protector, please let me into the supreme city of great liberation. So requesting the master.
So the first part is shaping our motivation. So the detail has been discussed before, and as we discussed before, the 4 disciples of the Buddha, which are Bhikshu and Bhikshuni and Upasaka and Upasaki, and even for the lay people, they have to take the Upasaka and Upasaki vows, and also based on that take the Bodhisattva vows, which has been completed yesterday. And the next line speaks about the purpose and the reason why we received the Vajrayana initiation. So many people feel that if we take the initiation, then you will get success in life, and also for your long life. And these are all a mistaken purpose. And there will be people who receive initiation for one's own this very lives, which is very wrong. And there's another one, not so much attached to this life, but for the next and subsequent life, to attain higher rebirths and not to be reborn in the lower realms and so on. This is also a mistaken purpose, a mistaken approach. So this is about shaping one's motivation in order to receive the highest Yoga Tantra initiation. And as we have generated the bodhicitta mind yesterday, so until the space ends, there is nothing else that I have to do except to benefit other sentient beings. So and we have to develop a very strong mind. And if the only son of the mother is being drawn and taken away by the river or the water, and if the mother could not do anything, and if there is no possibility to save the child or the boy from drowning, then there is nothing we can do. So at this moment, even for us, as the paths are being taught, similar in the Heart Sutra, the progress of the path from the one to another, Dayata Gata Gata and so on. So in order to be of maximum benefit to the Mother Sentient beings, of course, one need to be experienced, one need to have developed realizations. And so therefore, I wanted to receive this initiation with the main purpose of attaining enlightenment so that I could be able to benefit maximum number of sentient beings. So this is the first, the content, which is shaping your motivation and taking the internal initiation. So when we confer the internal initiation or the secret initiation, so at this moment, as it is being taught from the Goma Goya Samaja initiation, a consort appear from one's own heart and become one with that consort, and that enter from the master's mouth, and which is dissolved and rise in the form of Vajrabhairava. In the presence of Guru, not different from the main deity, together with an assembly of actual and lineage Gurus, meditational deities, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and so on. And from the emptiness, it rises in the form of the Vajrabhairava. And which has been rose in the form of the Vajrasattva, and we have to imagine that the deity resides at the eastern door. Next is supplication and guiding the disciples to take the. So please repeat, O great protector, I am seeking the firm mode of great enlightenment. Bestow on me the pledges, bestow on me also the mind of enlightenment, also bestow on me the three refuges, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, into the supreme city of great liberation, into the supreme city of the great liberation. So next is asking about one's lineage and one's interest. So you will be asked, asking students the lineage and interest. So all of you, if you merely concentrate and if your interest is only for this life, then there is nothing that we can achieve from life and life. So if we make a firm dedication that we will work for the life and subsequent life for the benefit of other sentient beings, and this life we have taken the human rebirth and also receive the teachings of the Buddha, and within the teachings of the Buddha, especially the practice of the compassion and altruistic intention, which is again supported with the foundation of understanding of the wisdom of emptiness. So this, we have the potential that we will be able to realize both the attainments for the benefit of the self and for the others. So in order to attain Buddhahood, of course, we need to assemble all the causes and the conditions. The teachings that are coming from the Perfection of the Wisdom Sutra are actually very important conditions to realize enlightenment, but that merely alone, that path will not be sufficient for us to become Buddha. So therefore, we have to rely on the Vajrayana teachings and receive initiation to complete the causes for becoming enlightened. So this is next is about taking the bodhicitta vows, which will be done at the actual initiation. So the one which is completed is developing a firm faith in the tantric initiation. So next is the blessing. from the three doors and blessing the three doors of the body, speech, and mind. And you all have risen into the form of Vajrabhairava, and your three doors, as I recite this mantra, your three doors, the body, speech, and mind are blessed. And when we speak about accumulating merits, of course, it has to be through our three doors, the body, speech, and mind. Similarly, is the case with the accumulation of the non-virtues. So from three doors, we have to walk towards to lessen the accumulation of the non-merits, non-virtuous things, and in order to enhance and flourish our practices pertaining to the three doors, you have to assume that your three doors, the body, speech, and mind, are blessed for this purpose. So next is making the offerings. So next is casting the toothstick. So if there is a day's gap between the preparation and the actual initiation, then we have to cast the toothstick and also check about the different obstacles, since we are doing it both in the same session, so we don't need to do the casting of the toothstick. So next is giving the handful of the old water. So in the ceremony of pledging secrecy by giving the old water, so the line starts that since all the phenomena are empty of its own inherent existence, so this same grasping of the self is the wrong perceptions. So the basis of that grasping is also without any foundation. So the mantra goes this way. So next is actually the distributing of the kusha grass, which is also not necessary since it's the same session. So next is distribution of the protective thread. So this can be distributed now. So this protective thread is actually considered as a secret item. So therefore, we usually wear it on our left arm so that it won't be visible to other people. When I was around 3 or 4 years old, when I was in Kumbum Monastery, and my parents bring me to Kumbum Monastery. So the monks of the Kumbum Monastery will have a very strong, will tie the thread on the right hand, so it looks very magnificent. Also many rounds of the threads they tie on their right arm, and which looks really magnificent. So I still remember that. Next is the liberating the sentient beings. And we have discussed yesterday, of course, there are numberless sentient beings in the world. And in our text, usually we speak about the three numberless world. So, but what we see today is this planet, the Earth, and even on this planet, there are numberless number of the animals, the microorganisms, and so on. But among all these beings, it's only the humans that can think and can speak and discuss. Usually, human is defined as a being who can speak and understand. So within this human family of 7 billion, we are all same that we have taken a human rebirth, but to have such kind of facility, to have such advantages of being able to contemplate on the preciousness of our human rebirth, 10 advantages and 8 leisures. So if we really contemplate, it's very few people that they can really think about these things. So today, all the people assembled here at this teaching ground are, of course, the people who have possessed 8 leisures and 10 advantages. So being a human being, it doesn't guarantee that you will be best or you will have all these advantages. So we are few among the numberless sentient beings. And as it says that numberless thousands of the Buddhas have came, but no one has been able to transform us. So we belong to that group that we have not been able to transform ourselves in the last number of the Buddhas came. And following the Lord Buddha, of course, following him, there were the 7 masters who came after him, and also the great masters such as Nagarjuna, Chandakriti, Shandadeva, and so on. And if we have born at that time and received teachings from them and follow, so today we will be in a different situations. As we say that what we did in the past, we can determine or we can understand by looking at our present state. So what we become in the future will be entirely in our present state. So therefore, we can think at this present state and think yourself and feel rejoice that we are really fortunate that we have received this human rebirth, and that I will make complete use of this human rebirth. And the next comes the actual initiation. I think we are still to recite the supplication verses. Please repeat after me. I think I'm about to mistake. So soon we will be enter into the mandala, and at that time, once we enter the mandala, so you will be given a flower that you have to offer to the deity once we enter the mandala. So please accept this flower. So till that time we are not allowed to see the actual mandala, so therefore we were given a blindfold, so which you have to wear. And please keep the flower in your hand, and you can wear your blindfold. So next is taking the Bodhisattva vow. And all the explanations we have done in extensive yesterday, and I won't go into detail. The main difference today is that today we are about to enter the mandala in respect to taking the deity yoga, and also as the preparation to receive the actual initiation, we are taking the Bodhisattva vow. So in the center of the mandala, the Vajrabhaya recites with the 9 faces and 34 hands, and in the sky, the Lord Buddha, who is the founder, and on the sides, the other masters, the 8 lineages masters and 17 Nalanda masters and 80 the yogis, and also all the masters from the different sects, Sajya, Kagyu, Nyingma, from the Tibetan traditions, which are in front of us. And also confession in front of them. So please repeat after me the verse. To the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment by my collections of giving and so forth. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of all beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge. I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Supremes. assembly, I do so to attain an enlightenment. May I become Buddha to benefit all. For the second time, please repeat. I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of all beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. And I do so to attain an enlightenment in order to fulfill the aims of myself and others. I shall act with supreme enlightened content. May I become a Buddha to benefit all. And that for the third time, when we recite, may I become a Buddha to benefit all, so you have to visualize that the Bodhisattva vows that you have taken yesterday become enhanced further and progress further. So please repeat for the last time. I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of all beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all. So this is completed, taking the Bodhisattva vow. And the next is taking the Tantra vows. So please repeat the supplication. Sanje kunji damseda, tongpa sanje dadu, simje kunji dungi, loben dajang sundu su, loben dajang sundu su. So the Tantra vows is usually, of course, there will be the categories such as the vows initiation and so on. And in order to purify the physical defilements, so we give the vows initiations. And for the speech defilements, the sacred initiations and so on. So in order to combinedly clear the three defilements of the body, speech and mind, is the fourth initiation of the word initiation. So if the initiation we are going to receive is only for the Vajra disciple initiation, then we do not need to receive the Tantra vows. But since we are going to receive even the Vajra master's initiation, so therefore we have to take the Tantra vows. So here we have completed the supplication to receive the Tantra vows. So please repeat the verses to take the Tantra vows after me. And as we explained before, in front of us, all the merit fields, the deities and the Buddhas in front of us, with the center, the Vajra Bhairava. And it is actually this one deity, which is the Vajra Bhairava, the solitary hero, is actually in the form of all the other deities, as we visualize all the other deities being dissolved into the main deity. So in front of this deity, we are going to receive the Tantra vows. So please kneel on your right knees. So if you have problems with your knees, of course you are exempted. So otherwise, please kneel on your right knees. Please repeat after me. So, the Lord Buddha, visualize in front of you the Lord Buddha, the founder, and the 17 Nalanda Pandits, 80 yogis and the masters, and especially the lineage of the transmission of the Vajra Bhairava initiations, both the initiation and the transmissions, and visualize as all these masters are assembled in front of you. So we're going to take the Tantra vows from them, and with such a devotion, with such a faith, please repeat after me. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I request you to give me your attention. When we say I called, so please say your name, or you can say Megyo Dorje Shobhaya. From this time onwards, until I achieve the essence of enlightenment, shall generate a sacred, peerless enlightened motive of bodhicitta, just as the protectors of the three-time state, to make certain that enlightenment. And here it is very stressed that all the Buddhas in the past have also become enlightened, taken by generating the bodhicitta. vows. So therefore, in the past also, in the future also, there will be the same process. So therefore, there is no other way to become enlightened other than practicing bodhicitta. And from the next verse onwards, of course, for the different deities and for the different Buddhas, of course, they have their own separate precepts. So those precepts will be repeated one after the other. Please repeat. I pledge to practice the 4 types of giving 6 times each day, keeping in mind the delightful commitments of the great Ratna family. For the great Padma family, I pledge to uphold individually all the holy dharmas that arose from great enlightenment, those of the outer, secret, and 3 vehicles. So the first is the Ratna Sambhava's 6 precepts. And next is the Amitabha, Akshobhaya. Next is the Akshobhaya's 6 precepts. I pledge to practice the 4 types of giving 6 times each day. This is Ratna Sambhava's practice about the 4 modes of giving, the practice of generosity. And the next is the Amitabha's precepts. For the great Padma family, I pledge to uphold individually the holy dharmas that arise from great enlightenment. And for the Padma family, so there are the 3 yanas and so on. But when it comes to the Kala Chakra, there is a slight difference. So when we speak about the inner and the outer practitioners, even the outers were given here, the non-Buddhists and the Brahmanical treatises and the scholars. So even we cannot let go of the Brahmanical practitioners or the non-Buddhist practitioners out of our meditations when we meditate on the bodhicitta. The next is the Amogha Siddhi's precepts. For the great Karma family, I pledge to uphold all vows well and to make as many offerings as possible. I shall generate the vows of peerless bodhicitta for the sake of all and uphold all samayas without exception. Please repeat for the 2nd and the 3rd times. I pledge to uphold the vows of Buddha family, to rely on the peerless triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and the 3 disciplines of observing proper behavior, gathering virtuous dharma, benefiting sentient beings. I pledge to hold the Vajra, bell, the mudra of great Vajra family, and to honor my teachers. I pledge to practice the 4 types of giving 6 times each day, keeping in mind delightful commitments of the great Ratna family. For the great Padma family, I pledge to uphold individually the 4 dharmas that arose from great enlightenment, those of the outer, secret, and 3 vehicles. For great Karma family, I pledge to uphold all vows well, to make as many offerings as possible. I shall generate the vows of peerless bodhicitta for the sake of all and uphold all samayas without exceptions. So the 2nd time is completed. And for the 3rd time, I shall generate the vows of peerless bodhicitta. So when this sentence is completed, so from the in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the similar as pure the tantra vows which is possessed in them, visualize as you have also developed such a kind of tantra vows. Repeat for the 3rd time. I pledge to uphold the vows of Buddha family, to rely on peerless triple gem, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and the 3 disciplines of the observing proper behavior, gathering virtuous dharma, and benefiting sentient beings. I pledge to hold the Vajra well and mudra of the great Vajra family, and to honor my teachers. I pledge to practice the 4 types of giving 6 times each day, keeping in mind the delightful commitments of the great Ratna family. For the great Padma family, I pledge to uphold individually the holy dharmas that arose from great enlightenment, those of outer, secret, and 3 vehicles. I shall generate the vows of peerless bodhicitta for the sake of all and uphold all samayas without exception. I shall deliver those not delivered, liberate those not liberated, giving bread to those unable to breathe, and place all beings in the state beyond sorrow. And all the number of sentient beings, which are numberless as the space, and we have to meditate and visualize that all the sentient beings we will liberate And even the arahats who have eliminated all the defilements, but still, so they have to be liberated and attain enlightenment. So please sit down. So next is asking about your interests and your lineage. So when I ask you who you are and what your interest is asking about your interests. So the first one, when I ask you, oh, who are you? So it's actually asking about your lineage or your lineage or your class of to which sections of the practitioners you belong to. And when you reply, so you replied that you were the fortunate one, which is actually referring to the bodhisattvas. So the bodhisattvas, having practiced with the foundation of the teachings and the practices coming from the perfection of the wisdom, and upon that the teachings and the practices that are coming from the Vajrayana will be also combined together, and the practice which will completely form all the facilities to be enlightened. So please repeat. Oh, who are you? And please repeat after me. A fortunate one, I am I. So next is asking about the purpose. What is your purpose in order to receive initiations, whether it is for your longevity or to have many disciples, to become rich or so on? No, these are not my purposes, but my only purpose is to become enlightened, to become Buddha, to benefit all the number of sentient beings. Please listen to the question, what is your purpose? Repeat the answer, in order to attain supreme Buddhahood. So here completed these two questions. The next is generating the all-encompassing the bodhicitta mind. Next, this is about a pledge to meditate and the practice and generate the wisdom realizing emptiness. And we have discussed for the last 2 days. In order to be benefit for both the self and the others, the bodhicitta mind is the supreme. In order to achieve that, there is no other way to do that. And this time we are born as humans with all the facilities and the leisures and advantages. So if I do not meditate bodhicitta this time, then when will I meditate? There won't be another time for me. Of course, the realizations will not come immediately. It will take time to develop and to generate your realizations, but I will make a start. The Lord Buddha himself has accumulated the merits for 3 numberless eons. So similarly, from this life, I will make a start, I will make a beginning, and from the life onwards, so I will pray and make sure that I will be able to benefit the mother sentient beings as much as possible. And as it is coming from the precious Kaland, the numberless of the sentient beings, which are vast and numberless, just as the earth and so on. So similarly, I with a strong dedication, and just as coming from Shantideva's prayer, that as long as there is space and as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain in order to dispel their sufferings. So even if I become Buddha, my only interest and my only purpose is to benefit the numberless sentient beings. So if we are able to develop such a kind of dedication, such a kind of a strong intention, then of course your own purposes will be realized automatically. So there is no other way to please your master, also to achieve your own purpose, to clear your obstacles, or whatever the ways and other things that we want to achieve. There is no greater than practicing and developing bodhicitta. If there is someone who is bringing harm to you, and you have to say that I have taken all the sentient beings as my guests, my friend, then they will come to you and say, I'm sorry, because you have generated a kind of attitude considering all the sentient beings as your guests. Of course, those harm-doers who inflict harm on you, the non-humans and so on, the pretas and so on, even though they do have self-cherishing thoughts, due to self-cherishing thought, they may inflict the harms. But for we, of course, if we all have this self-cherishing, but the self-cherishing in terms of wishing for your own happiness and do not want to have suffering, this is something common for all the sentient beings. But if this is what we want, then of course we have to meditate bodhicitta, generate the bodhicitta mind. So by cultivating such a kind of altruistic intention, we will be able to fulfill one's own purpose as well as for others. So please meditate on the bodhicitta for a moment. And bodhicitta is for two intent, that which is driven by the wishing for the other's benefit and wishing for enlightenment. So such kind of the two intents, bodhicitta, you have to visualize that you will work for the benefit of the fulfillment of others' purpose, numberless sentient beings, and you who are transformed into the Vajrabhairava, and in your heart, at the heart disc, a moon white disc, which is transformed into the bodhicitta. And after that, I think it's from the 400 verses. Phenomena which happen through dependent cannot be independent upon other, cannot be an independent, since things comes with a relation to others. So therefore, this is proof that they are not independent. Even at the elementary studies that were debated, of course, we know that something which is dependent and something which is independent are two contradictory things. So things which comes with dependent upon the others are not independent. So the 400 verses explain that everything comes with relations on the cause and effects. And whatever arises whatever is dependent arising is empty of inherent existence, which is coming from Nagarjuna Master, and there is not a phenomena which is dependent originated. Therefore, there is not a phenomenon which is not empty of its own inherent existence. So, with these ideologies and the thinking at your heart, then look at the outer things and how things appear to you, and this is the illusory way of appearance of the things to us. In one of the assorted the teachings of the 7th Dalai Lama, there is a one text which is actually an answer to questions asked by one of his students. I'm not able to remember the first line since I'm aging now. So to summarize, when we speak about the illusions and the dreams and so on, they do not have their own intrinsic reality. The illusory form of the elephant and so on. So all these are mere our mental projection. So therefore, similarly, liberation, the samsara, and all these other phenomena also do not have any objective existence from their basis. But due to our ignorance and our distorted mind, things appear as having intrinsic reality to us, and these are all appearing to our distorted and misconceptions. And these are object to be refutations, object to be negated, which are to be negated. And here comes a very critical distinguish between whether such kind of object of negations can appear to our sensory organ, sensory consciousness or not. So when the Sautantrika Madhyamika speaks about that things though do have their certain levels of their intrinsic reality, but they do not exist as it is being labeled by the mind. But in reality, there is nothing that exists only as the thing appear to us, but there is no other proof that the things to exist except that they appear to us. So, therefore, the Chandrakriti proceeded this point through the seven modes of proving the emptiness through the absence of intrinsic reality. So, when we study about the Madhyamika philosophy and the mind-only philosophy, so we have to think about these points and these reasonings day on and day out. So, whether things that exist from the external things or our own experiences, everything that appears to us is due to our ignorant mind, due to our distorted thoughts, but they do not have their they do not have any kind of intrinsic reality. And all the phenomena are merely nominal, merely perceptions, appear through the perceptions. So they do exist only as they are known, but they do not have any intrinsic reality. So meditate on this emptiness for a moment. So merely thinking that I or the self do not exist, this is not sufficient. We have to think about what is the basis of the self. So self is actually designated on the 5 aggregates. And the 5 aggregates are the basis of the designation. So what about the 5 aggregates? They also do not have intrinsic reality, especially the 5th one, which is the consciousness. When we disintegrate the consciousness itself from the past, future, and the present, as it is a continuity of the different moments of the mind, so we won't be able to pinpoint to any exact point where the consciousness even exists. So therefore, we cannot even find the consciousness and also the 5 aggregates. And as we usually recite in the Heart Sutra, that there is no form, no sound, and so on. We usually put the negative words that do no forms and no sound and so on. So this is such kind of intrinsic appearance are to be negated. So in such way that all the phenomena are absence of intrinsic reality, and they exist only towards the mind. To our mind, they appear as a phenomena, but do not have their own intrinsic reality. So such a kind of understanding of the emptiness transform into the 5-tipped white color Vajra, and which stands on our heart, which is in the form or the Vajra consciousness in the center of our heart. So these two minds combine together, and we are taking a pledge that we will take this, meditate and generate these two mind from day to day on. And as we discussed yesterday, that from day to day we will meditate on the emptiness and bodhicitta. As Nagarjuna says, that through the two collections, we will be able to realize the truth and the wisdom bodies of the Lord Buddha. So merely praying for the attainment of the Buddhahood will not be possible. So we have to assemble the right conditions and the causes in order to attain the Buddhahood, and the right conditions, and also being able to benefit all the sentient members, all the sentient beings, has to also come from its own substantial causes, the causes which are relevant to the result. So we have to attain the wisdom truth, which has to come from the accumulations of the wisdom. So accumulations of the wisdom is here, the wisdom realizing emptiness. So meditating on generation of that wisdom brings us the truth body, the wisdom body of the Buddha. And similarly, it is for the merits. So from here, by meditating on emptiness, we are laying the first brick to build the full house, which will become, give us the full house later. So generation of the all-encompassing the bodhicitta mind, you have to pledge that you will never let go of this mind, and it is not by force. You have to imagine that this is the supreme mind that will fulfill all our benefits for the others, This will be also be of offering to our masters, also confessions and the purifications of all our negativities. And to summarize, it will be able to fulfill all our wishes. So please repeat the mantra Om Sawa Yoga Siddha Ubadaya Me for 3 times. Om Sawa Yoga Siddha Ubadaya Me. Om Sawa Yoga Siddha Ubadaya Me. And the next, and as you have developed this mind, similarly, the Vajra Master has also developed this mind, and a replica of that mind radiate from the Master's heart and dissolve into your own mind. And please assume as you are blessed. So Tantra's practices are something that we have to practice in secrecy. And so I've received the Vajra initiations. We are not allowed to broadcast to the people who are not suitable to hear it. In India, the great Tantra yogis and the practitioners, they really do the practice in a very secrecy. In Tibet, it was done in very publicly. So generally, the Vajrayana initiations and the practice are to be practiced very secretly. So whatever of your deity yoga practices and all have to be practiced secretly. So please listen to this. So this about the pledging the secrecy. So next is, so till here it is completed all our ceremonies to do outside the curtain. So next is entering the mandala. So please open the curtains of the mandala. And then we enter inside. Next is doing the circumambulation, entering the mandala and doing the circumambulations of all the circumambulation of the mandala, with the visualizing of circumambulation 3 times to the clockwise. Please repeat the mantra. Sudogo, Penzasado, Adisidenam, Marada, Sudinda, Sudogo, Susugo, Penzasado, Adideda, Adisiddhimam, Maharagda, Sudinda, Sugu, Pinzasadu, Adisiddhimam. So it completed. Next is doing prostrations, having entered the mandala. So you're recited at the eastern door, and there is only one deity inside, having done the 3 times circumambulations and coming out of the eastern door and doing prostrations to the deity from the Vajra master, which is in the form of Vajra Bhairava, and the central deity Vajra Bhairava, which is not different from the master. Please visualize his prostrations to the master and repeat. Zobetana, Yamana, Nyadame, Savadadakada, Benzasado, Adidedamam. So this completed the prostration. Please listen to the Tibetan translations of the mantra. In order to be able to make offerings and serve respectfully all the Tadakadas, I offer myself and request that you bless me with Vajrasattva, the nature of all Tadakadas. Thus one is blessed to be able to make offerings and serve respectfully all the Tadakadas. And from the eastern door, so doing the prostration to the master, Emana. Please repeat. Next is the issuing warnings with respect to receiving the initiation. As today you are entering into the family of all the Tathagatas, I shall therefore generate in you Vajra pristine awareness. If you will be able to achieve the actual attainment itself of the Tathagatas by means of this awareness, what need is there to look for other attainments? Next is then stressing disadvantage, places Vajra at crown. This is the Vajra of your close Samaya bond. If you should speak of these methods to anyone improperly, your head will split open by means of that. This is your water of the hells. If you transgress your close Samaya bond, it will burn you. But if you safeguard your close Samaya bond, it will confer upon you the actual attainments. Now drink the water of Vajra nectar. From now on, I am your Vajrabani, and when I tell you to do something, you must do it. You must never despise or belittle me. If you should do so, then at the time of your death, there will be no avoiding a horrible end, and you will fall to one of the hells. Next is showering wisdom beings, followed by proclaiming words of truth. I request you to bless me with all the Tathagatas, namely to cause Vajrasattva to rain down upon me. I request you to bless me with all the Tathagatas, namely to cause Vajrasattva, wisdom being, to rain down on me. And the disabled have to be you have to visualize yourself as the Vajra Bhairava once again. And first you have to develop a sense of comfort within yourself, and as it grows further and enhance further, so in this way the very gross level of the minds, the disturbing mind will subside down, and so then there is a possibility for us to let our subtle minds to grow up. Next is reciting the mantra with the main purpose of to kill the grasping, the true graspings within us. And when I recite the Om Subhavashuddha Savadharmahang, and the Om, which is composed of the 3 syllables, that represents the body, speech and mind, and visualize and think about the self, which is the basis of the second line, Subhava Shuddha, where if we are further to analyze and locate the self within us, it cannot be found. Recently, when we did a teaching, I met one old lady who she said that she's not feeling happy. And I asked her, where is the self? She said she's somewhere here. And I asked her whether it's a round or whether it's a square. She replied, it's a round self. So if that is the case, then a very disturbed mind of within yourself, which is in the form of the circle, so consider the self exists in that very locations. But generally, when we are disturbed, of course, in our heart, some people refers to the self somewhere in the brain or heart or wherever. We cannot actually pinpoint to an exact location, but the self does exist. So the self is the controller, which actually takes owner of the five aggregates and all our possessions. It is actually the possessor. But if we have to pinpoint and try to find the actual self where it resides, then we cannot find it at any place. Though it resides very powerfully in the center of our heart, but if we have to locate it correctly, sometimes it seems to be resided from the consciousness, somewhere around the consciousness. Sometimes it seems to be staying on one of our physical aggregates. So therefore, even the many schools of thought, someone like Chittamatra face difficulty in locating the actual reference of the self. So therefore, they put forward the foundational mind as an object of reference for the self. So the self actually arises on the basis of the five aggregates, which is in some way relation to the mental consciousness. And that self, which is actually the one that enjoys all our possessions, and also all the other phenomena that are our possessions. So meditate on the emptiness, that all the phenomena, both the self and its possessions, are empty of its inherent existence. And when we meditate on the emptiness, visualize as everything become void, become empty, and within that emptiness, it appears so within the emptiness, all the disciples, one by one, are led to the Master's mouth, which are transformed into the form of Vajrabhairava. From the state of voidness, I arise as a hum, from which comes a Vajra marked with the hum, from which I transform into a great and glorious Vajrabhairava with a body, dark blue black in color, one face and two arms, holding a cleaver and skull cup and standing in the pose of my leg outstretched. At the crown of my head, from a bum, comes a white, round watermala disc marked with the verse on which is Ha. At my heart, from the lamp comes a yellow, square earth mantala, disc marked on each corner with the three-spoke Vajra and on which is Hum. At my navel, from a ram comes a red triangular fire mantala disc, pointed and blazing, on which is A. Under my feet, from a yam comes blue, turbulent bow-shaped white mandala disc marked on end with a banner. So this is visualizations. So the internal factors is actually when all the internal elements, when they arise, so we are able to subside the very active arising of these gross minds. So as this gradually subside, so then we are not able to even pinpoint the very mind within us, and then I meditate on emptiness in this way. So in this way, visualize as the very subtle mind becomes active and rise from that emptiness. And for the outer factors, of course, from the Vajra Master, which is not different from the Vajrabhairava, and the numberless of the solitary hero Yamantaka, the 9 face and the 34 hands, and so many number of these Vajrabhairavas, which are in different colors of the white, yellow, and so on, and comes in front of you. And the root mantras such as Yamaraja and the essence mantra and so on, all these mantra rings dissolve into you. And visualize this, all the wisdom beings are bestowed on you. So whatever the blessings you receive, visualize that they become very stable. The blessings are made stable here with the uttering of this mantra, Dita Benza. So next is offering of the flower. So usually the master has to rise and pray from the eastern door. So I think it's very difficult for me to rise up due to my leg problems. And there is also this traditions of the master not standing. So I will also look towards the eastern door and do the offerings and the prayer. May this disciple whom I shall bring into this perfect mandala have as much merit as that of the land of the Buddha family, of the deity. May they have whatever actual attentions they are of the Buddha family that they have become a vessel for, and may they come in to have a mandala corresponding to whatever force of merit they have. So, with the senior abbot here, so please come up. So when the Gomang monastery's abbot, so when he casts the flower, so please visualize as you all have cast the flower into the mandala. So it is confirmed that we will all be enlightened into one of the Buddhas, the 5 Buddha family. But in order to practice in the path, of course, you have to know which particular Buddha you are to be enlightened. So in pertaining to that Buddha, so there will be specific practices and the daily yogas and so on, so which will be much closer and easier for us. So therefore, we have to ascertain what kind of the lineage of the Buddha we are. So therefore, we drop this flower into the mandala. So please cast your flower into the, please repeat. So this is completed. So where the flower fall down, it's in the east side. I think it's in the Ladakh. The abbot is actually from Ladakh. So the flower falls on the eastern side. So when I first received the Vajrabhairava initiations, so my flower also fall on the east side. So I am the Vairochana deity. So I thought that I will be able to be of some benefit to others. Actually, I'm very young age at that time. So I told that I wanted to enter inside the mandala. So Tata Rinpoche is the master, and they actually took me in the arms and led me through the flower. But actually, since I'm a child, and out of my childish, I protest with them that I wanted to enter into the mandala. So at that time, I get such a thought that since I'm the Vairochana, so it has a different, a special connection to be of some benefit for the sentient beings. So you're all the Vairochana Vajra. Vairochana Vajra. So this is our secret name. So usually the form body of the Buddha is actually usually referred to as the purpose of accomplishing other people's. So therefore, Nambaranangse Dorje or the Vairochana Vajra has some resemblance and special connection with the attainment of the form body, so which will of much benefit to the sentient beings. So the disciples were in the form of Vajrabhairava. Sorry. So please take off your blindfold. So Om today Vajrasadeva exerted himself to open your eyes, and having them open, you come to see everything. These Vajra eyes are unsuppressible. Now place the flower on your head. So please care for me until I attain enlightenment, that is addressing one's state of affiliation. So Vajrabhairava, the 9 face and 34 hands, 34 arms, and from the heart syllable, which is the concentration, which is the Manjushri, and also the wrathful expression of Vajrabhairava. So you have to visualize that you have you have seen directly the Vajrabhairava, which is actually not different from the Manjushri in front of you. So please repeat completely encircled on the circle by the 8 great Sarmatian grounds. Samaya ho ho ho. Om, I have entered the great mandala of the Vajra mandala. Om, I see the great mandala of the Yoga mandala. Om, I receive empowering the great mandala of the secret mandala. Samaya. So now, bestowing the actual initiations. So in order to receive the Vajra disciples initiations, so the first is Akshobhaya water initiation. Requesting the water initiations of Akshobhaya. Please repeat after me. First supplication. Sangheshara Vachimboya. Tojo Sambangurdam. Please bestow upon me the supreme initiation. So the first is the water initiation, which is actually the crown, Vajra, bell, and the name initiation. I and the empowering implement, the water of the vase become void. Within the sphere of the voidness, from whence become Vajras, which become blue Akshobhayas with 1 face and 2 arms, holding Vajra and bell and embracing a blue motherly consort Mamaki, who holds a cleaver and skull cup. Rays of light from the whom at the center of the Guru, non-different from the main deity, bring forth from their natural reports, wisdom being similar to what I am visualizing and empowering deities. They become non-dual with the commitment beings. Rays of light from the whom at the heart of the Guru, no different from the main deity, bring forth to the space before me Father and Mother victorious Buddhas reciting in 10 directions. So next is inviting all the deities and bestowing initiation. Just as Vajradhara granted empowerment, the source of excellence to Buddhas for them to save sentient beings, I request you to bestow the same for this one. Rays of light from the whom at the heart of Guru, So next is the auspicious verses, which is actually important. Through an auspiciousness dwelling in the hearts of all the four sentient beings. And here, when we speak about the self, the basis of the self, the very subtle and the foremost basis of the self is actually the very subtle mind, which is present in all of us, that resides in all heart of all the sentient beings. This is the first line. And this is actually the agent that brings forward all the activities in the world, whether it's the internal world or the external world. They all appear through that sense of self. So when that kind of the self becomes enlightened, eliminating all the defilements, and this is the very source to become enlightened in all the Buddhas. So that is the next line, which says the essence of all, the supreme lord of all lineages, progenitor of all the sentient, the great bliss, which is the third line. May you have today auspiciousness at the supreme conferring of initiations. So through an auspicious dwelling in the heart of all the sentient beings, the essence of all, the supreme lord of all lineages, progenitor of all the sentient, the great bliss, may you have today auspiciousness at the supreme conferrer of initiations. So having meditated on emptiness and visualize as you have attained the bliss of the union of the bliss and emptiness, understanding of emptiness, and from the external factor you drink the nectar which is given to you, and visualize that you have developed the great bliss and happiness. So this is the water initiation. In this way, I am conferred empowerment with waters of nectar. They fill my whole body. I experience great bliss. All my stains are cleansed. The excess water that swells to the crown of my head transforms into an akshobhaya, crowning my head. Rays of the light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bringing forth the empowering deities. So next is the Ratnasambhava, the crown initiation. I and the empowerment implement, the headrest crown become void. Within the spirits of voidness, from trumps become the jewels which become yellow Ratnasambhavas, with one face and two arms, holding a jewel and a bell and embracing a yellow motherly consort, Ratnatara, who holds a clever and the skull cup. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Gurus, non-different from the main deity, bring forth from their natural abodes wisdom beings, similar to what I am visualizing, and empowering deities. They become non-dual with the beings. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bring forth to the space before me Father and Mother victorious Buddhas, reciting in 10 directions. So next is the offering for all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the 7 set of offerings. The Ratnasambhava of Father and Mother melt and become the empowering implement, the headdress crown. Rays of light from the home at the heart of Guru, not different from the deity, invoke all the victorious Buddha with their entourage in order to bestow empowerment on me. So in future, this is actually for auspicious for attaining the special marks and the signs of the Buddha's body. In this way, I am conferred empowerment with the waters of nectar. They fill my whole body. I experience great bliss. All my stains are cleansed. The excess water that swirls into the crown of my head transforms into a Ratna Sambhava, crowning my head. Next is the offering. In this way, you have received the crown empowerment of Ratna Sambhava. The stains of your pride and my sureness has been purified. The nature of your aggregate of the feelings has been transformed. We are also in a hurry and the pages are also flying. So next is the Amitabha Vajra initiation, the third one. I and the empowering implement the Vajra become void. Within the spirit of voidness, from trees become lotuses, which become red Amitabhas with one face and two arms, holding a lotus and a bell and embracing a red motherly consort. Pandaravasin, who holds a cleaver and skull cup, rays of light from the home at the center of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bring forth from their natural abodes wisdom beings similar to what I am visualizing, and empowering deities. The wisdom beings become non-dual with the commitment beings. Rays of the light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bring forth to the space before me, Father and Mother victorious Buddhas, reciting in 10 directions. And then requested, just as Vajradhara granted empowerment, the source of excellence to Buddhas for them to save sentient beings, I request you to bestow the same for this one. Having thus been requested, the Father and Mother victorious Buddhas in space sit in union and by the fire of great desire melt into bodhicitta, which confers empowerment on me as Amitabha. The Amitabha Father and Mother melt and become empowering implement, the Vajra. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, invoke all the victorious Buddhas. So this is holding the Vajra on your right hand and touching it to your crown, navel, neck and your heart, and blessing your 3 doors. So next is the offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In this way, I am conferred empowerment with the waters of nectar. So here completes the Amitabha initiation, Vajra initiation. Next is the bell initiation of Amogha Siddhi. I and the empowering implement, the bell become void. Within the sphere of voidness, from comes become sword, which belong to green Amogha Siddhis with one face and 2 arms, holding a sword, a bell, and embracing a green motherly consort Samayatara, which holds a cleaver and skull cup. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bring forth from their natural abodes wisdom beings similar to what I am visualizing and empowering deities. They become non-dual. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, bring forth to the space before me, Father and Mother victorious Buddhas, reciting in 10 directions. This is requesting for the initiation. And then making offering to the deity. The Amogha Siddhi Father and Mother melt and become the empowering implement, the bell. The rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, invoke all the victorious Buddhas with their entourage in order to bestow empowerment on me. Those who brought forth remain in space. Those of this accomplished mandalas turn their attention to bestowal of empowerment. Now give bell to left hand and cross arms, thus generate exalted wisdom of bliss and void. This great Vajra of initiation is revered by all in three realms. I shall give you this which come from the place of three secrets of all the Buddhas. In this way, I am conferred empowerment with waters of nectar. They fill my whole body. I experience great bliss. All my stains are cleansed. The excess water that swells into the corner of my heart, crown of my heart, my head, transform into an Amoga Siddhi crowning my head. So next is the bell initiation is completed. Next is the name initiation. So there is no separate substance for these initiations. Next is the Virochana name initiation. I myself become void. Within the sphere of voidness from Om, I become a whale which becomes white Virochana with one face and two arms, holding a bell, and embracing a white motherly consort Lochana which holds a cleaver and skull cup. Next is offering. Then requesting, just as Vajradhara granted empowerment, the source of excellence to the Buddhas for them to save sentient beings, I request you to bestow the same for this one. Having thus been requested, the Father and Mother victorious Buddha in space sit in union and by the fire of great desire melt into bodhicitta which confers empowerment on me as Virochana. Rays of light from the home at the heart of Guru, not different from main deity, invoke all the victorious Buddhas with the entourage. In order to bestow empowerment on me, those brought forth remain in space. So since there is no separate substance for the initiations, all the deities which are recited in the sky and which we have our secret name, the Virochana Vajra. So from the sky, from the space, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the deities will loudly call upon us as from our secret name, the Virochana Vajra. So this is the initiation, so there is no other substance. This great Vajra of the initiation is revered by all in the three realms. In this way, you have received the name empowerment of Virochana. The stains of your closed mind did ignorance have been purified, the nature of your aggregate of form has been transformed, your mirror-like pristine awareness has become manifest, and you have received the power to accomplish the actual attainments of Virochana. Next is the uncommon Vajra Master empowerment, the initiation of Vajradhara. So first requesting Vajra Master to give the initiations by a mandala offering. Please repeat. Due to your kindness, that oneself and others' wishes can be fulfilled, the initiation of Vajra Master kindly bestow upon me. This is the request. So in order to receive these initiations, the disciples are guided to sit on the golden throne. I become void. So within the state of voidness, on a variegated lotus and mundi sit upon a lion throne, from whom I become a Vajra, which becomes a white Vajradhara, with one face and two arms, holding a Vajra and bell, and embracing the white motherly consort Vajradhatu Ishvari, who holds a cleaver and skull cup. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main day they bring forth, from their natural abodes, wisdom being similar to what I am visualizing. Next is making offering and then placing a request. So in order to give the initiations, so we need to give the three Vajra, the pledge of the Vajra. So the three commitments pertaining to the three doors. So the first is the pledge of bell. Sorry. So from the three pledges, the first is the pledge of bell. So usually the Vajra actually resembles the wisdom realizing emptiness, and the wisdom realizing emptiness is actually the sword or the instrument which will cut through the ignorance of our graspings. So this is the actual antidote against all our ignorance. So hold the Vajra on your hand. When we speak about the two truths, actually they are the same with not different. But here, when we refer to the emptiness and the mind realizing emptiness as not different, they are actually referring to the subjective and the objective emptiness. One is an object as emptiness, and other the mind or the wisdom realizing that. The bell becomes void. Within the state of voidness, from an eye it becomes a bell. In order to fully establish the nature of wisdom and method as Vajra and bell, hold this. And the bell actually represents the objective side, which is the emptiness, and the Vajra, the subjective mind, which is the wisdom realizing emptiness. So they are called the subjective emptiness and the objective emptiness. And the bell, the hollow inside, and also the tongue inside. So depending upon so many conditions, like the hollow inside, the tongue, and the space, so it is, and also by the people who holds the bell are able to produce the sound of the bell. So similarly, it represents the emptiness, that in order for all the phenomena to be produced, a lot of causes and conditions are to be assembled. So with ringing the bell at the last line, please repeat. By nature, cyclic existence is pure. With this nature, I can become separate from this existence. Thus, having a mind that is naturally pure, I can make my existence become purified. And when we speak about emptiness, I don't know whether this natural cyclic existence may be sometimes referred to the term Siba, sometimes can be explained as samsara, but sometimes it can be also explained as possibility. So the ultimate or the actual reality of the things, by understanding reality or the actuality of the phenomena, we will be able to liberate ourselves from the samsara or the suffering. And with crossed arms, the Vajra representing the great bliss and the bell representing the emptiness. So these two with your cross hands at your heart, which again rise in the form of the Vajra Bhairava, both the wrathful and the peaceful manner. Cross your arms holding the Vajra and the bell, and based on visualizing self as a Vajradhara, embracing wisdom mudra, Vajra Dhatu Ishvara, generate exalted wisdom of bliss word. This is the actual nature of Vajra Master initiation. Rays of light from the home at the heart of the Guru, not different from the main deity, invoke all the victorious Buddhas with their entourage in order to bestow empowerment on me. Those who brought forth remain in space. And next is recitation of the auspicious verses. Through an auspicious dwelling in the heart of all the sentient beings, the essence of all, the supreme lord of all lineages, progenitor of all the sentient, the great bliss, may you have today auspiciousness at the supreme conferrer of initiation. Next is the offering, the seventh set of offering. So next is explaining about the suchness of the thing. It can be actually the Buddha can be identified here as the Vajra Bhairava, and not which is enlightened as the mandala itself. And they too are not different from the, essentially they are not different from each other. So in this mandala, the fact that the Buddhas and that which is not the Buddhas here, which are referred to the mandala, are in reality not unequal, is represented by the four corners. The perfection of the four closed mindfulness is the eastern door, the perfection of the four perfect abandonment is the southern door, the miraculous legs is the western door, and so on. Next is indicating the stages of the actions. The commitment of protecting, the commitment of eating, the ritual of dharma cake, protecting, turning away, actualizing the mandala, and bringing disciples into it. These qualifying features are the stages of the actions to be done by a master. Next is giving the mantra. And next, please repeat the supplication. And the ring of mantras which reside in the heart of the Manjushri. At the center is the Yamataka mantra, and outer is Friti, and outer of that is the Yamaranza. And from there the replica appears, which is in the form of the mantras. And the mantra itself in the form of the beats of the mala, and it appears in the ray, comes out from the Vajra Bhairava, and the Vajra disciples who are you, which is in the form of the three stakes of Vajra Bhairava, that beats and the lights of the mantra dissolves into you, and visualize that and repeat the mantra. Om Yamaranza, Sadomaya, Yameduru, Nayodaya, Yadayone, Rayakea, Yakeaza, Niramaya, Homo Pebesoa, Om Yamaranza, Sadomaya, Yameduru, Nayodaya, Yadayone, Rayakea, Yakeaza, Niramaya, Homo Pebesoa, Om Yamaranza, Sadomaya, Yameduru, Nayodaya, Yadayone, Rayakea, Yakeaza, Niramaya, Homo Pebesoa. Next is the essence mantra. Om Shriti Vididanana Hombe. Om Shriti Vididanana Hombe. Om Shriti Vididanana Hombe. This is the internal mantra. Om Yamendaka Hombe. Om Yamendaka Hombe. Hombe. So this completes the three mantras. So for our actual retreat, the Yamaranza has to be 100,000, and the Yamantaka 700,000. So all we have to, this is coming from the Tantra. So this is coming from the Tantra Vajra Bhairava, where for a complete retreat, the essence mantra has to be recited 300,000 and the other mantra is 700,000. So this completes the recitation of the mantra. So what is next? Applying the eye medicine. Next is in the eyes of the disciples, 2 syllables of pram on the 2 eyes. One each of my 2 eyes is a syllable pram. Just as the king of the eyes clear away the cataracts of the world, so too, O child with the vitreous Buddha, clear away the blindness of your awareness. So here the stain or the cataract is referring to the ignorance that creates obscuration for us to understand emptiness. And next is giving the mirror, showing the mirror. So mirror, actually the reflections of all the things can be appear very clearly. So similarly, by looking at the mirror, we have to visualize seeing the reality of all the phenomena, that is the understanding of emptiness. From an R comes a mirror marked with an R. Phenomena are like reflected images, clear, pure, unmuddled, ungraspable, inexpressible, arisen simply from causes and karma. And as it is said in Heart Sutra, the Gade, which is referred to the path of preparations, So the first two gades refer to the first two parts of preparation and accumulation. And Paragade is actually the part of seeing. And this bow, this arrow is given for the representations for the purpose of realizing, attaining the third part of seeing. And visualize, please repeat the mantra. Shooting the arrow from a hoe comes a bow and arrow. Next is permission to teach general Dharma. First give me the will. From a drum comes a will. From the last vowel of the R comes a conch shell. From the first vowel of A comes a text of Yamantaka Tantra. Starting from now, with solely a bodhicitta motivation, completely fill everywhere with the peerless Dharma coach and turn the wheel of Dharma. So next is the permission to teach the specific Dharma. Do we have any substances for this? In order to benefit all sentient beings, I shall turn the wheel of Dharma in accordance with what type of disciple from among everyone in the whole world. In order to benefit all sentient beings, I shall turn the wheel of Vajra in accordance with that type of disciple from among everyone in the whole world. In order to benefit sentient beings, I shall turn the wheel of Ratana and wheel of Padma and wheel of Kama. So since sentient beings have different mental dispositions and mental requirements, so depending upon one's need and wanted mental dispositions for the Vajra disciples, when you have to give teachings and the guidance to others, to give advices, and when we speak about giving teaching, it doesn't necessarily mean to sit on a throne and give teaching, but as a friend and as a companion, one can give guidance, one can give instructions to others that we have to be a good person, you should not deceive others, and so on. So this is the real teaching of Buddha, how to help other people through teachings. And depending on the other people's need and mental disposition, so we have to give the proper instructions. So that is why this is with respect to the permissions to teach specific Dharma. Next is the Vajra conduct. I myself become Vajra Sattva. From a home becomes a Vajra. This, the state of all the Buddhas, is found in the land of Vajra Sattva. So where is the Vajra? You as well should always hold it and have your conduct and behavior be firm as Vajrapani, he who has Vajra in hand. So hold the Vajra at your heart and repeat the mantra, Om Savatata Kadam, Siti Benza, Samaya, Tita Ekatam, Darayame, Benza Sado, he, home. So next is making a prophecy of one's enlightenment. Actually, I have to stand up and do this, but it's not necessary. So please listen to this prophecy. The Guru takes on the aspect and the costume of the victorious one Shakyamuni. Here I shall prophesy concerning you, Tathagata Vajrasattva, after being purified your existence and pass beyond the lower realms of cyclic existence. So in future, when you become enlightened, having completed all the parts of both the wisdoms and the skillful means, and having practiced day in and out, then very soon we will attain enlightenment in the form of Vajrachana Vajra. We will be enlightened in the form of that Buddha. Next is explaining the secret, the pledging the secrecy of this initiation. Non-virtues such as being separated from desire to the three realms, it is from nothing else. Therefore, you must never break from the path of attraction to desirous objects. As we have generated the all-encompassing bodhicitta mind, so this is in reference to that. and that we are not able to forsake the practice of bodhicitta and so on, and we are not able to give teachings to people something different from their needs. So depending upon and understanding their mental dispositions, one has to give the proper teachings suited and relevant to that practice. And also the tantric practices. If someone who is misunderstood do not have complete knowledge of those rituals, then any kind of such actions and the rituals may end up bringing one to the lower realms and so on. Next is see here we have completed the giving relief and encouragement. Next is perfecting functions of the two types of mandalas, outer and inner. This is an outer mandala drawn on cloth, as you have been conferred an empowerment to have dominion over the dharma in order to act as the master of it. This is called master empowerment. Having been washed away the stains of your body's appearance of ordinary, so you have been cleansed of the Vajra body. So next is request the secret empowerment is actually to clear the defilements pertaining to our speech, as A is the source of all the syllable, which is actually the syllable of Manjushri. Sorry, the root syllable of all the syllables, and even the very subtle wind energy which is present within us as the right of the mind, the very subtle mind, the root, the very at the foundation of that wind also resides the syllable A. So with that kind of wisdoms, we have to dispel the gross defilements which are present within us. So after clearing the gross consciousness within us, make it substitute so that the very subtle form of the mind which is present within us, which is actually in the form of enlightenment, will be cleansed. So this is supplication to give the initiations. When we speak here about the space vajra, the space vajra is actually referred to the wisdom, and from the right of that wisdom, which is the wind energy, that has the potential to produce the form body. So this initiation is to produce or to become enlightened and attain the illusory body. Put on the blindfold. The Guru, not different from the main deity, becomes a glorious Vaishabhairava consisting of the three concentric beings. The secret place of the main deity within the state not aimed becomes a home, which becomes a blue five-spoke Vajra. From an Om comes the jewel, the whole of which is plugged with a pot. So next is the taste mill substance, and this is for in order to attain the illusory body, which is actually coming from the generation stage. As we progress further, and when we attain the very subtle mind which is present within us, and the wind energy, which is actually the right of that subtle mind, as it progresses further, then we come closer to attain the illusory body. So then once more, the motherly concert nectar, which is the melted deities, situated at her lotus. By means of this precious drink, you can actualize a Vajra body. You should know this, O child, and drink this liquid produced from the mind. Next is the recitation of the auspiciousness verse. So having tasted the two drops, and as it dissolves into all your channels, and all your nerves are restored. So when we speak about blessing the nerves, it actually means restoring. Or if there are any blockages, it is being cleared. Or if there are any tears or happening within your nerves or the channels here, so these are all restored. And also the wind energy that follows within these channels, which are stagnant or not in a powerful or at actual capacity, are restored to its actually form. And having done this, in future, when we do a special practice with focus about the wind energy and the drops, so at that time we won't encounter such kinds of problems, and we will be able to meditate and do the practice as per our wishes, according to the needs of the yogic. So this is about the impure illusory body. So this is the having tasted this drop. This is the actual initiation. So please take away your blindfold. So next, the perfecting ritual is not necessary. So the most important is attainment about the illusory body. Having tasted that, your speech is blessed, and the root or the foundation of your speech, which is the wind energy, by the power of one's yoga and combining with the practice of the path. And on the right of the wind channel, with that as the substantial causes, and the other is the conditional course, we were able to attain the illusory body. Generally, when the death approaches, and as soon as the death approaches, so the intermediate state of rebirth approaches. So from the great Indian master's text, especially the Nagarjuna's commentary, and these teachings are very, very clearly listed in this text, and we have to really study thoroughly. So these really have very important points and the difficult points. Lama Tsongkhapa has also there are difference in the illumination of the 5 stages for the Tantra text by Lama Tsongkhapa and its notes on these parts. So we can find some contradictory points within these two. As we usually say, when Lama Tsongkhapa first composed the eloquence of the teachings on the perfection of the wisdom sutra, and later when he wrote the Madhyamika commentary text. So there are differences in these explanations because the earlier Lama Tsongkhapa's understanding of the emptiness has not been complete. And these experientials and the understanding of the special and the difficult points are something to be realized through one's own understanding, through one's own experience, and so not so easy.
Please repeat this request. Bodhi Vajra and so forth. So we human beings of this world, our body with the 6 elements, we have this body with the 6 elements, and using the elements, we produce the inner heat, and which melts the white bodhicitta from the crown, and it actually melts down, flows down from the crown to the throat, and so down and so forth, and you experience those with the 4 ecstasies in the downward movement of the bodhicitta, and then also bringing it back up to from the sacred place all the way up to the crown. You experience this ecstasies, and so these can happen on the basis of relying, by going in consort, in union with the consort, and also with the wisdom consort. So this is mentioned in Kyutum Northern Gyatso's writing. Please put on the blindfold. So by relying on and fully qualified consort, you should be able to have the experience of the three realizations, whereby you're able to actually trample your discursive conceptions. So otherwise you may actually misuse the practices. Please imagine that you are being asked this question. Please repeat this response. So you imagine yourself as the deity, and then your speech should be visualized as mantra, and then most importantly your mind should be seen as the Dharmakaya. So the seven-featured union state, you should think of attaining that. So now the disciples transform into Vajrabhairava with full feature of 9 heads and 34 hands and so forth. And then the secret places of the disciples and their consorts are blessed with the syllables. And so you go into union and with the consort, and then you as Vajrabhairava in full feature go in consort, union with the consort, and then because of that, the bodhicitta, white bodhicitta, melts down from the crown and flows down from the crown to the throat, throat to the heart, heart to the navel, and then from there to the sacred place, and back up from all the way back to the crown. And so you experience the 4 ecstasies through the flowing down and upwards of this. Please repeat this. Om Sarvatathagata Anuragana Bhedha Swabhava Atmakoha. So in the Sakya tradition, there is also mention of the ecstasis, the 4 ecstasies experienced through the movement of the bodhicitta up from the tip of the sacred place to the navel, and from the tip of the sacred place to the base of the sacred place, and then to the navel, and then to the heart and throat, and all the way to the great bliss chakra of the crown, at the crown. And so, regarding the bliss, these four blissful experiences, the experience that you get when they move back upwards is greater than the bodhicitta flowing downwards. So there is this. So long as the yogi does not emit bodhicitta, they will have the bliss that arises from the uninterrupted joy they attain. How can it be otherwise? But if they let fall the bodhicitta, which confer all actual attainments, the aggregates of consciousness will soon end. How can they have the unreproachable or supreme actual attainment, the action that gives rise to great marvelous bliss through the complete joining and contact of the Vajra organ and the sphere of the sphere, the lotus womb, is that which brings supreme bliss. And so, from the four blissful experiences, when you actually have, and they could be related to the four empties. So these the four blissful experiences, ecstasis, and the four empty experiences of empty states go together. So with this, the bliss, the wisdom initiation is finished. So next is, please remove the blindfolds. Next is the fourth initiation. Please make an offering. Please repeat this. By the kindness of your Lord, I have received the three principles, and I request you to cultivate me further today by your kindness with the fourth initiation. I request you to cultivate me further by your kindness with fourth initiation. So, by using the fourth initiation as the example, or you are introduced to the fourth initiation. So, you yourself, having visualized yourself as a deity, and your mind in the state of great bliss, together with the emptiness experience. And so, when you get familiar with these experiences, gradually, this does not stay only in imagination or visualization, but when all the gross and subtle wind and mind energies are purified into that of the subtle wind mind energy, and so that innate clear light. So the example clear light is attained first, and then you attain that of the impure illusory body, and when you use that, you actually realize emptiness directly again, and then you have the meaning clear light. And with that, you attain that of the pure illusory body, and thereby you have the illusory body, which is together with that of the state of purification, total purification of all the mental afflictions. And with that, when the mind, the clear light mind, actually focuses on emptiness, and then you have the union of body and mind. So that's the main goal that you wish to attain. So when on the occasion of your receiving the third empowerment, you held the appearance of bodies, both yourself and the knowledge of the lady concept of as being with the father and mother meditation deities and so forth. And so when you attain the meaning clear light, you have attained that of the path of seeing of Tantra, and then from there, when you arise in the reversal order of the mind, then you have the illusory body. So the Vajra, the union of the body and mind of the trainee level is called the Vajra body, and so it's a pure body. So that is the substantial cause for the Buddha's two bodies union. So if you actually practice this highest yoga tantra by using the great bliss wisdom, you will attain. There's no doubt that you will attain that of the union, such as the past master, second master Marpa, Lotsawa, and the Sakyapa masters, such as the Sachin, the five patriarchs, and so forth, have reached such a high level of realization. Also, Kedrum Nosang Gyatso attained, became enlightened within that one lifetime. And within that one body, he meditated for over 40 years or so. So he went to see the first Dalai Lama, the second Dalai Lama in Drepung, and the second Dalai Lama had said that he was going to attain the union state not before long. So they were very close to one another. So there is a prayer of Balden Lamo to Bewong to Balden Lama Tang and so forth. So this was written by Kedrum Nosang Gyatso. So the prayer says, "My glorious Lama, who is the king of, or king of the Siddhas," and so forth. So in that prayer, there's the name of Gendun Gyatso as well. So it's such a supreme state of mind where you have the imprints from the past life become manifest, and so such a person who receives this kind of experience should feel delighted. So there is nothing to be interpreted here. So this is a Vajra speech. You cannot interpret it. You cannot argue that this such and such things that are taught are interpretable and such and such are definitive and so forth. And then we have the 14 root downfalls of Tantra. Never disparage your master, never transgress the Sugata Buddha words. Likewise, never speak negatively about your Vajra siblings out of anger, never abandon with certainty their loving attitude towards sentient beings, never give up the enlightened motive of bodhicitta, never belittle your own and others' Dharma's tradition, never disclose the secrets of sentient beings who have not been ripened, never despise your own aggregates, never denounce the void in nature of all things, and so forth. And so, if you could, having done this, having received the initiation, after having done the necessary retreat, if you could sometimes do the self-initiation, it would be good to revive your vows. So also never abandon being friendly with those who are evil. Never hold a limit to your Dharma practice. Never deceive sentient beings with faith. Always devote yourself to commitments. So never speak negatively about the false women or about our faults. Faults of women, since they are in the nature of wisdom. So when you do your practice of, at the end, finally, you should be able to actually dissolve, bring or the wind energy into this central channel at the heart point and also dissolve it there, and that it should help to for the mind to arise or manifest into the clear light. And so this wind energy then transforms into the undeathless body of illusory body. So never have the yoga bond of your breath and mantra run separately, as if your arms, and never abandon the yogas. Never recite the mantra continuously and so forth. So this is, I shall do just as the words you have spoken, O main deity. And so pledging to keep all the commitments. And so the union state of the body of a Buddha are compounded phenomena, and therefore they must come from causes and conditions, their substantial cause, which is attained at the trainee level, those of the pure illusory body and the meaning clear light, and for that you need to attain that of the impure illusory body and the example clear light. And for that, these you have to attain those of the isolation of speech and isolation of body. And in order for these experiences of the completion stage, you need to actually go through the generation stage practice. And for these to be effective, you need to actually train yourself in the shared path. And through the shared path, you go into the Tantra, and then finally, eventually you attain that of the union state. So this completes the initiation of Vajrabhairava, solitary hero. Pato chebe so nyawa shiwa chinge labdo so ni la lama da teme chegi belalo sa dalam ye ne rabdo ne do chan yo ko banyo top show. So these are dedication verses from the so the foundation of all good qualities, the last two verses from there. So this, and then is always asked to say the Lamrim dedication prayer that is found at the end of Lamrim Chemo. Midam Mimi Gutsera Gundo Gewe Ngabaye Namda Lamda Jawa Ma Yoje Kanze Tegba Chola Chuju Jushin Rula Zumba Te to den Namge Tado Troch Trashi Jazun Tado Troche Trashi Jazu Chogun Kab Jurchi. So that is the end. Tomorrow we'll have a rest, a break, and then the next days we'll do the Manjushri cycle of teachings. Please keep your the blindfold for the next the Manjushri cycle of teachings. That's the announcement. Keep
Hello, hello. Hello. Shushu namato senrona. Dari Shiti Dada Chungsha Dito Natari Kuyumpa Puba de la Chimbadi Mum Tuju Reji Dan Sumti Shidong Chinsha Ani Tadunya Jelia Kuyung Tol Shendep Karichungadi Ningazu Sani Yangyo Jema Puyag Tapshi Dustin Samtan Digi Detur Janrona Ani Taganashi Tumu Kamji Agunarana Shugu Tuchena Kadinche